Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to another episode of Always Almost There, Day After Show Live. We are here coming to you live from Saratoga Springs, New York. It's happening. We are one night in out of two here at SPAC. We are joined by self-proclaimed AAT lady interns, Jess, Maggie, and Kara. How are you girls doing today?
Party time. We're having a blast.
We're having a great time.
Best weekend ever.
I love it. So are we.
Yeah.
We're having a blast. Yeah. Shout out to official intern Josh, who is downstairs, and also official intern Matt, who's downstairs.
Is Matt an official intern?
I don't know. We should check with Haps on that one.
Yeah,
we self-claimed lady interns. We figured we'd get more women in the scene, as that is our prerogative here. So thank you for hiring us. We'll negotiate salary later.
Hire more women.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And if you guys don't know, these lovely ladies are also, at least two of them, are part of the Femme Flock podcast. You should check that out.
Woo!
Awesome. They talk about Goose.
That's me, Jess, and Kara. But I'm currently cosplaying as Peter.
I love it. It's a good mustache. Good look.
Thank you. I thought it matched our vibe.
Awesome.
Kind of what we're about here is vibes.
There we go. Well, we're not, so that's good.
I was a vibes guy last
you were definitely a vibes guy last night.
Yeah.
I mean, I was too, because the vibes were so good all show. But of course, as we know, last night was amazing. Kind of removed all of my worries after the Boston shows, which was excellent. But let's start with you guys. Your pre-show vibe. Where were you sitting? How were you feeling before the show started?
I think pre-show, we were all together, like initially pre-show, having a really good time. We got over to the venue, 6:30, I think we got in there, had to get some drinks, had to get some food, suss out the vibes. It was my first time at SPAC, so I definitely had to check it out. And then me and Kara were pretty much right behind the soundboard. So we had a pretty incredible viewing and experience from that angle.
Yeah, we have a nice house of 12 of us here, walking distance to SPAC. So we had a big crew, and then pre-show, I was just focused on handing out stickers. I have my little band, so I've been very focused on making sure everyone gets a little Peter or a tiny Rick. So that was what I was up to. Andrew and I were section 12, so in the path, low to the right, Peter side. Nice. But great seats. Great vibes, really just buzzing because I was on all of the Boston shows. So it's been a tour week, as you know.
It's been a lot of fun. What about you, Kara?
Pre-show vibes were pretty good. I set out to make no decisions yesterday. So I just kind of followed people around. And so Maggie and I made it to our seats. Yeah. I watched for Getty, made the Getty call, and moved on into the show. So
her vibes were high.
Vibes were high.
That's good to hear. We had a great spot last night. We were just dead center. Oh, good job. Intern cameo. We had a great spot. We were dead center down in the pavilion in section two. Nice. Next to a friend of the pod, Bruce Robinson, and other friend of the pod, Mark Camito. We had a nice little spot there. Great view of the stage. It's kind of surreal always being up close at a venue like this, but I love SPAC. This is my third time at SPAC. I saw Dead & Co. and Goose there last year, and then coming back last night was just such a treat. But I think I was I said on the pod on Thursday that going into SPAC I was like, okay, they're going to blow it out. We knew they were going to. Boston shows were a little more subdued in terms of jamming, as we've spent a lot of time talking about on the last few pods. Yes, Ryan Molnar, Goose is a SPAC band. 1,000 on amazing shows played at this venue. But Neil, how are you feeling going into the show?
Love this venue. I was feeling great last night. Came in hot.
Yeah.
Straight from Boston. Got out of work at 2. Got here just in time for a little bit of pre-show party. But always love a SPAC show. I've been coming to this venue my whole entire life. I saw my first concert ever here. Saw Steely Dan here when I was just a wee lad.
Oh, yeah.
This is a great place.
Awesome.
Did 40 Beer Neil make an appearance?
Not quite 40. We came close.
He did his best. He did his best. All right. Well, let's dive into the show here. Let's get our first 3 songs of the set. Elizabeth, Atlas, Turn Clouds. Let's start with you, Kara. What did you think of the first 3 songs of the first set?
They were good. I have never been a big fan of Elizabeth, but I would say that changed last night. I think it's the second time I've seen it live at this point, and it just kind of changed it because I think the venue is being SPAC. The jam is a little bit different. Atlas, that was my first, so pretty great. Really excited. I knew the lyrics, which was different because I don't always know the covers. I was really excited about that. And Turn Clouds, I would just say is about the same for me every single time. I always love it. It's a jam. So
shout out to Josh. Jess?
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, nothing could have brought me down last night. I was just excited to be there, so I didn't really care what they were playing, which is kind of my vibe most shows. I'm there to dance. If I can dance to it, I'm happy. Turn Clouds is actually a personal favorite of mine, but I prefer the studio version to the live version. I just think sometimes they mess up the harmonies in the live version, and it can be kind of funky when they transition. But I thought last night's was fantastic. I was so excited because it felt like they nailed it. Granted, that's just I would not actually know. It's just all vibes. But I was having a blast. You really couldn't have brought me down. And then Atlas, yeah, I've seen all of them a couple times, so like it wasn't anything out of the ordinary for me. It was just kind of like settling into the show.
Awesome. Maggie?
All right. Okay, so Elizabeth, we were talking before the show and everyone's like, what do you think the opener is going to be? I almost said Elizabeth, and then I went with Feel It Now because we had friends who called Feel It Now a gyrating dance song once.
Ooh.
And that was really fun. But I think Elizabeth is always a really good song. I always have a lot of fun during Elizabeth, whether listening or in person. Atlas, love the Wood Brothers, always a good cover in my opinion. And then Turn Clouds, I think that was my first Turn Clouds. I was just having a good time. I feel like Party Goose is back, Dancy Goose is back. And so that whole first 3 songs, I think really set up for a really good vibe for into the rest of the show. And real quick, also shout out to my parents who are watching the stream right now.
Hi, Mom and Dad.
Shout out. My mom's watching too. Neil, you're
Yay!
Hi, Lisa.
Neil, what did you think of the first 3 songs?
Yeah, similar. Liz opener was audible, I think.
Yeah, it was.
We saw the Earthling list, and it was supposed to be Earthling, which is an interesting call to start the show, but I think it was that was good.
Yeah.
Atlas, always it's a great cover. It's a classic opener. So that was pretty good. And then Turn Clouds, yeah, man, Turn Clouds is always great.
Yeah.
I have a thing with Turn Clouds.
Yeah, you have a thing with Turn Clouds, and you did it successfully.
I did it successfully, yeah.
Yeah, I really like Liz. And, I feel like, we talk every time they play it now, they're playing these shorter versions that just get the energy up so high so quickly. It's an amazing opener. This was one of my predictions on Wednesday in Boston. I was either going to get Wales or Liz to open the show. It always sets the tone really, really well. And this was, Neil, you said to me, and I think you tweeted it as well, as the Liz peak was happening, you're like, this is not the same band that we saw in Boston.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Definitely.
That was clear from the jump, and I think that was the energy of the crowd as well. I think the band, the band has a different kind of energy. Also, when they're playing a venue like SPAC, which means so much to them personally, and the crowd just felt so amped last night from the first moment.
Right. I was really excited about the crowd at SPAC versus Boston. I thought the Boston crowd was just kind of a lot of bros, a lot of dads, not that many wooks, not that many girls. So I felt like the shows they played there versus the shows they played last night, actually made a lot of sense. People here appreciated what they were doing. Where in Boston, it was just dudes showing up to a show and wanted to hear their favorite songs. At least that's how I felt there.
That's fair. Yeah. Atlas, I was excited to hear again after just getting my first one at the Fox. This is also the quickest turnaround since early 2022. After being gone for over a year, excited to see this. We'll see if it's in regular rotation, if it pops up again this tour. But I was excited to see it again. And Turn Clouds is always fun. All right, next up, we've got Bourne, Rosalie McFall, and Bob Dawn. Let's start with you, Maggie. What did you think?
Okay, so I had a lot of firsts this show. I think last night was my 14th Goose show. And all Bourne, Rosalie, and Bob Dawn were all first for me last night.
Wow.
I cried all of Bourne. That song is very special to me and holds a lot of like good emotion and like turning points in my life. Was when the Eugene born last year, and so anyway, a lot of emotion.
Don't say that around Neil.
a lot of emotion during that song, and just like so much fun. Rosalie, Love the Dead, another cover. I actually didn't know that they covered that song. And so I was really stoked when I heard them start playing it. I was like, no way. And I really liked the kind of like 2001, was that where like the 2001 like outro of Born into Rosalie? I really liked that tease in there. I think that whole like little segue was really fun, and I really enjoyed that. And then I think Bob Dawn is such a good song. I was really excited when it came on and had a great time during it.
Even if it was without. Jess, over to you.
Yeah. I'm kind of a Born hater, but just because I like dance to. No, it's just my thing. I want to be able to move as fast as possible to songs.
Born is not that song.
It's not that song, but I love the jam, and I really, really liked the 2001 style outro. That I was really into. It got funky. I also like Rosalie was a new song for me. Goose was my intro to jam band, so like I'm still getting educated on all of the like classics, The Dead, all of the things that everyone who's been around for a while knows. So that was definitely at first it kind of took me out of it. A little too country Americana for my taste, but it happens. But then going into Bob Dawn, I mean, Rick definitely jumped the gun there. Peter was trying to go into his piano, and then Rick just started singing, and then it really like threw you into that song really fast. And then obviously it was a bit faster of a song than like we typically see it. And I feel like Andrew, shh. But I Bob Dawn is one of my favorites. I just felt like I couldn't really settle into it. It's one of those songs like I feel like you really like it. I want to feel it in my gut, but because they were going so fast,
it was very brief.
It was a brief one, but the guitar solo ripped. But I definitely like could feel the band's confusion for a second when they like started that. But I was a fan. I was having fun.
Kara, anything to add on those?
Pretty much on the same track there. For me, I was very sad we got without Bob Dawn. I haven't had with in a very long time, so I was very sad about that. But it set us up for the next part. So
yeah, it's always a sad day when Bob Dawn is with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well,
side note about the Boston run.
Yeah.
Just going back a few steps. There was a guy there. I think he's here at SPAC this weekend. I don't think I've seen him yet. He told us he was going to be here, but he had a hat made.
Oh yes,
that said Bob Dawn with on it. Hands down, the best hat I've ever seen. So if he's listening to the pod, I hope I run into you tonight. I want to take a picture with you with the hat once again, so I can get somebody to make me a hat.
Yeah, I want one of those hats. Yeah, it's a cool hat. Killer hat. Yeah, Born Rosalie was really, really cool. Born again, just the energy in the venue during that. The sing along. Goose is a Christian rock band sometimes, and that's that's one of those moments. But yeah, just the sing along and the emotion that you get from that song. Jess, I'm sorry, but I think you're completely wrong about that.
Hey, you're entitled to your opinion.
I definitely. But jam was really solid. Got into a cool little chord progression towards the end. We've seen some of these these 2001 style Borns that then get into a little bit of major key, kind of more like an ambient bliss kind of section towards the end. So I really enjoyed this. It's again, they're just dipping their toes in, building up to what's to come later in the show. But again, you could tell like already this Born is showing a little bit more exploration than a lot of the Boston run did. So I think we should stop comparing it to Boston and just talk about last night at a certain point.
Yeah, very different vibe.
Yeah. Well, speaking of not like Boston for the last time, this Pancakes to close the set. Let's dive into this Pancakes because this is special. Neil, I want to start with you here.
I mean, not
hay
my
hole.
Socks off. Well, yeah. Oh, the hay hole jam.
The hay hole. I wanted you to talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, like it's a thing that's popping up on this tour. Like, and so like if you don't know what like hay hole jamming is, like if you're listening, it's a thing that like Fish was known for, where like somebody would introduce a phrase, and then like the next player would pick up the phrase, play the phrase, next player would pick it up. Then somebody would change the phrase, and they would continue to like follow the person. And Goose has been doing this a lot this tour. They did it pretty heavily in Indian River the other night, and then again in this Pancakes. Awesome, like really cool stuff. Like
so good.
It's something they've actively said they like didn't do is like kind of like jamming exercises like Fish does, but it sounds like this is something that they've picked up or at least are giving a try. They're trying it on. The result last night was incredible. Like, really creative jamming and really, really good stuff. And it was the stuff we've been hungering for the last few shows. Yeah,
it's the Philly Tumble style, locking in very linear jam. Like they're not going all over the map. Not going through multiple things. They're just from the jump. They're getting into this bliss zone and they're just building from there. Peter getting into that hypnotic marimba stuff and just going and going and going. It was amazing. Jess, let's start with you. What did you think of the Pancakes?
Honestly, I was just like fully lost in the sauce, like just vibing, waiting for peaks, and I had fun. And I don't have much to say about Pancakes. I was just chilling.
Yeah. Sarah?
For me, it's what opened up the show. I was definitely in need of that, like, powerful. Here you go. Here's the Goose that we all love. Here's. I mean, we all love the other parts of Goose too, but like, here's what we're here for. This is what SPAC's all about, right? The big party and Party Goose. Like last year, it was very similar. Sure. I needed this. Like the Pancake Jam just like opened it up for me. Definitely turned me over to the next set. So it was definitely what I needed.
Maggie?
Yeah, kind of similar to Kara. I mean, I think as soon as they really started going, immediately like locked in. And I think our whole little group that we were with is me, Kara, Anish, my boyfriend, Patrick. We all just kind of were like, hell yeah, this is awesome. Like, I felt like we could really get going, get dancing, having a ton of fun. And also I felt like the band was just playing so well in that moment. Like I said, locked in all together. And Ryan, like you said, not kind of like exploring, just like on that linear, like upward track of like togetherness.
Let's do this.
Yeah, it was amazing. And it was a hell of a way to close the set. Also, speaking about set break and just, timing last night, incredible clock management from the band. This was something I was a little worried. They had a little wiggle room on the 11:30 curfew in Boston. They don't have that same wiggle room at SPAC. But last night they clock managed so well. 20-minute set break. That is like unheard of.
Incredible. Insane. I was not ready.
Yeah. I turned around and saw, Getty and Loomis were back at the boards, and I like turned to Neil. I was like, how long has it been? I
sprinted back because I was like just perusing. I did not expect it. SPAC is so big, and you like make it to the bathroom, and then I'll like get another like a water or whatever, and see your friends and sprinted. And then to get down, like there was a big line to get in to the lower level. So we had to like follow people. That sucked.
And then
like they're really strict about showing your tickets to get in.
Yeah, that's true.
And they like closed off the gates, so it took a long time to get down.
There we go. All right, well, let's move into set 2 here.
You don't care about my set break?
Oh, Neil, how was set break?
I actually didn't do anything at set break. I sat in my chair and I didn't move.
We were talking to Bruce.
That was me too.
Chat with Bruce. That's nice.
Yeah, we were having a good time.
The important thing about this is like the set break was so short. I was just going to wait out the bathroom a little bit.
Yeah.
That didn't happen because then they came out and started playing. And then I had to go to the bathroom during Arrow, which was like a problem. But still.
Now it's a problem.
Well, it's a problem that I missed a chunk of the song.
Yeah. Well, Neil made the interesting choice to go to the bathroom once the jam was already like 3 minutes in, which is when it starts getting good. And so we're there, we go through the whole 10-minute song, which would have been the opportune time to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And then the jam starts getting good and Neil's like, okay, I'm going to go pee. And I was like, now? They're starting to do stuff. But this Arrow, I have hasty ranked it on my playlist already. Number 5 for the year. One of my favorite jams they've done this year. It is above the Fox Arrow, in my opinion. You agreed with me like 20 minutes ago.
I did not. Did I agree with him?
All right. Josh. Thank you, Josh. Well, anyway, whether I'm wrong or not, it is one of my favorite jams that they've played this year. This is the Cotter Show. This is absolutely the Cotter Show. Watching the video back today, I'm just blown away by how much he's doing in this jam. It's just pushing the momentum and the speed and the ferocity throughout, and allowing, Rick and Trevor especially to lead the improv. Peter doing that very subtle support synth work and just getting evil. It's
evil.
just so good. Like I couldn't believe, like, you got back and I was like, look what's going on. Like,
look what you missed.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, trust me, I got lots of text messages while I was away. So like I knew what I was missing.
Yeah. I was like, dude, what
I was missing.
Yeah.
You gotta keep them updated.
Put your phone
exactly.
down. What are you doing?
Yeah. Well, let's start with you, Maggie. What did you think of this arrow?
I had a ton of fun. I mean, I think, synthesized it really well. And again, I just think they are so, like, I went to Boston night 1, and before that I had not seen them since Fiddlers. So I felt like, the pancakes into the arrow, even though there was a step break in the middle, I was like, they're not fucking around.
Yeah.
Like, they are here to have fun and to really be like, we love SPAC and we have a ton of fun. Like, I don't know. I just felt like it was really, that set the whole tone for like the second set.
Yeah, they like picked right back up where they left off.
Like there was
set one and just like kept it moving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like set break didn't exist.
Right?
Yeah.
It didn't exist. It was too short.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I mean, like, that's a perfect vibe, right? Like, where it just felt like they picked up right where Pancakes left off. Yeah. Like, they were definitely onto something. Communication was good musically, and they just ran with it, and they were just opened with a huge jam.
Yeah.
So.
And Neil and I were saying this morning, some of Rick's playing in this jam as they really get into the darkness reminded us a lot of the San Francisco Wisteria, that kind of really dark and thrashy motif that they don't hit very often. And it was so cool. I thought what Peter was doing on the OB6 in this jam reminded me a lot of what he was doing on it during the Thatch in Boston on Wednesday. But at that point, you had the vintage vibe as well, which takes up a lot of sonic space. And so I thought it was really cool how he was sticking just to this very intentionally subtle synth work, which left so much room for, again, Rick, Trevor, and Cotter to just destroy this jam. It was just amazing. Jess, Kara, anything to...
I definitely want to call out Getty during Arrow.
Yes.
Just so everybody knows, I had like heart sunglasses on where it was like making everything hearts.
They were really cool.
And Getty somehow knew this and was like making the lights like look like arrows with hearts on them. So that's where I was the entire show. And then when it got dark, there's like little hearts like in the darkness that were just like bringing me through it. So
it was amazing.
That's where I was for the rest of the set.
And we did make a mass purchase of those sunglasses this morning.
There will be pictures on my Twitter later. I have to go through them, but I found a way to take pictures of what I was seeing so the world can see them.
Yeah. Check out
and
Kara's Twitter later. These pictures are insane.
Getty, whatever you're doing, you know what we're doing.
Yes.
So thank you.
There you go.
That's what these glasses did you purchase?
Yeah, is there one for Neil?
Amazing.
Enough.
That's awesome.
Enough to
That's
share.
awesome.
Don't
You can get them on Amazon too. So yeah.
There you go. Well, so and they come out of the darkness from this arrow with just like this amazing blissful return. The way that Rick built them out. Neil and I, we'd have thought at the time that maybe they were going into Hollywood Nights, which would have been incredible.
Wait, Andrew said the same thing to me. Did he say Electric Avenue? He was like, they could go into something else right now.
Yeah.
But then they went back into it. They could have left Arrow a couple of times and they just stuck it out.
Mm-hmm.
It was so fun.
Yeah, it was awesome. And then they bring it to the conclusion. I just thought after they finished Arrow, just like the roar from the crowd is like, I get a lot of flack sometimes for not being a vibes guy and complaining about shows. But let me tell you, as I say, every time they do a jam like this, the vibes are never higher than when they play an all-timer jam.
Yes.
Yeah. That is true.
Can't argue with that.
You're not wrong.
Can't argue with that. Anyway, so we get Everything Must Go next. And this is when when Neil and I were joined by the king of SPAC last night, Mr. Matt Krattenstein.
I forgot.
Come say hi to the folk, Matt.
Hi,
the king
Matt.
of SPAC.
What's up,
Hey.
He appeared out of nowhere, like the Messiah, like in the middle of the song, and was just right in front of us. And then as the song was ending, the people in the row right in front of us came back, and just as quickly as he appeared, he was gone. It was beautiful. But this was an excellent Everything Must Go. Let's start with you, Kara. What did you think of this?
So still the same vibes. I was rolling on the hearts. But also, like I have, like this is where my mind's at. So just putting that out there. Going from that Arrow into Everything Must Go, it was just total vibes for me. Like I was, it's like a love song, and it just like put me in the place. I had hearts going everywhere. It was just beautiful, and I don't know. That's all I can say about that, because that's where I was, just in a lovey mood. It was beautiful. So yeah.
Amazing. Jess?
Yeah. Don't Come For Me. This is another one where it's like, it's not as dancey. So it like brought me like Arrow. I was like on a move, and then it brought me down. So like, it was nice to have something switch it up, like calm down a little bit, paid attention, like had a breather. But it was beautiful. It's always beautiful. But yeah, no, I was really, the next one is what I want to talk about. You could. Everything Must Go.
Pretty much the only thing I have to add is, I mean, I was next to Kara, so the vibes were really similar, lovey-dovey heart vibes, but having a blast. Me and Anish looked at each other at like the end. We're like, it's been 40 minutes and they're only in song 2. And he just kept being like, 2 songs. And I was like, fuck, this is incredible. So that's where we were at. We're like, 2 songs. It's been 40 minutes.
Yeah.
So vibes were high.
Yeah, they were indeed. I love this Everything Must Go a lot. Just short of the 20-minute mark, but amazing peak, great little, kind of dancier section. Better for you, Jess, towards the end. But just the wrap up again, another incredible emotional peak that they hit there. And it was fantastic. Yeah,
it's like, the kind of bliss jam that appeared out of Arrow, just this uplifting, amazing thing, and then kind of continued that vibe with Everything Must Go. It's just such a great song. It like always makes me feel good, and you're guaranteed a good jam no matter what if they play it. So definitely very stoked about that. Really, can I segue us into?
Oh yeah, you need to talk about it first.
So I've been chasing one Goose original forever. So last night
years
was like my 60-something-ish show. I don't know what my number is right now, but like I've been wanting to see this for a very, very long time. And I tweeted about it yesterday saying that like, and then I never do this. Like I never say like, oh, I really need to hear this song. But like, I really, really wanted to hear, I wanted to hear Eggborg for literally years.
Years.
It's
been 2.5 years since they debuted.
And I tweeted it and they played it. Now, I'm not going to say my tweet has anything to do with it because there's no way. I mean, it's been dozens and dozens of shows since they played. What's the gap on that?
It was 52 shows.
Oh, 51 shows. There's no way they like went and relearned it or like practiced it today. It was just a coincidence.
No, they probably did it yesterday.
Or yesterday. You know what I mean. In any case, absolutely amazing. Manifested it. I thought about it the entire 3.5-hour drive from Boston. Like, I can't wait for this band to play this song. And there it was. And
really
man, was it good.
So I was saying, I said I wasn't going to talk about this on the pod, but I have to make the parallel here. You know, at the end of How the Grinch Stole Christmas, when his heart grows 3 sizes.
Yes.
I watched that happen to Neil last night.
Oh, I love that.
Transformed to full-on vibes guy.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the night was like a blur. I was like, this morning.
Welcome to the vibes.
Welcome to the
Like, like when you like watch a movie and like somebody has like a particularly crazy night and they do this like kind of like memory scene of like everything just going like 10 times speed. That was like the rest of the night. Like
after Eggborg.
Everything was a blur. This happened super fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was amazing. I'm really happy I got to be next to you when you got your Eggborg. I now unfortunately can't hold it over your head that I have 4 Eggborgs.
Yeah.
But I had 5 and you have 1.
Well, I mean, the best thing about the Eggborg too is that many people in attendance had no idea what Eggborg was. And it's an instrumental. Yeah. Well, so like you may not know what it is, even if you're like a really big Goose fan. So I'm like jumping up and down and screaming and yelling, and then almost nobody around us except for Bruce Robinson.
Yeah, it was like the 2 of us and Bruce in the whole area. And Camito.
Yeah.
It was like the whole section. Everyone else was just kind of like regular vibing, and we were like, losing our shit.
Mark actually never stops doing that.
Yeah, that's also
that was my section as well. The first note, that was my second one. I was not expecting it. Unlike you, I did not manifest it, but I'm so happy. It was like my peak of the show. The minute the first note hit, I screamed Jeff, and the whole section looked at me and was like, and I just started dancing. It was my favorite moment of the entire show. I think I just love that song so much. Riding a high the whole time, don't stop moving, jumping, dancing, having a blast. Just like Oh my God, it was so much fun. I'm so psyched for you.
Yeah. Maggie, what about you on Angborg?
It was my first. Vibes were high. That's like really all I have to say. It came on and I was like, no way. And Kara was like, is this your first? And I was like, yes. Lots of firsts for me last night, which was a lot of fun. It was a great show. So vibes. They were like through the roof at this point. Like if the vibe meter was just like escalating, it like ricocheted off the charts at this point.
I think we need to rename ourselves from the lady interns to like the vibe interns.
The vibe crew.
The vibe crew.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Haps might have that title.
Yeah.
But the vibe intern. You can be the vibe lady
He's got
intern.
him like trademark.
Yeah, I feel like Vibes guy is like he has a patent on being a Vibes guy.
We're gonna need to have a later conversation, maybe with HR.
Anyway, next up after sorry, Kara, anything to add on Angborg before we move on?
I mean, same deal. The first time I saw Angborg was when we were at the Cap 2 years ago. I happened to be in Garcia's when it started, and I almost had a heart attack and ran back in. So I was very, very excited to actually get a full one this time. Mm-hmm. And it was a dance party. Yeah. Like we all just got down, and it was so much fun. That's what Angborg is all about. So
yes.
There we go.
Yeah, and the only thing you can do, like after you play the absolute rager of a dance party, is play a Tom Waits song. Like,
and Christmas Card from Hooker in Minneapolis, the first one Goose has played in almost 4 years. Last one was 10/20. How many shows is that, Neil? 254.
Oh, 254.
And I almost had you, for the record, I almost had Neil in the show gap argument last night after the show. We were talking about this, and I almost had him. And then Josh ruined it by making me stop talking because he wanted to hear the song we were listening.
Yeah.
I think I'm Team Neil on this because of the Boston echo.
Yeah.
But that's a later conversation.
We can do this all day. We can do this right up until showtime.
We can, and we're not going to, but we probably are. But let's talk about the song itself. This was very exciting to get. It's been an Arabelo staple, was on the Arabelo Chateau album. But this is so exciting to see Goose play again. My first time seeing it, of course. But I was just really, really excited about it. I'll start with you, Kara. How are you feeling about Christmas Card?
So it was one of the first covers that I ever listened to from Goose, actually, because I didn't know it and I thought it was a silly name. And I had to look it up. I had no idea about it at all. And I kind of honestly forgot about it until yesterday. And then they started playing, like, this is Christmas Card. Oh my God, this is happening to us right now. There's no place like SPAC to play it. I think it was an excellent choice to pull it out at SPAC. Mm-hmm. I think it's really special for them to do that. So it was great. I absolutely, I'm not a huge covers fan. Like, I'm not somebody who's like, oh yeah, I go to a Goose show to see all the covers. There's a few I like, but I was really excited about that one. So
yeah. Awesome.
Jess?
I don't have too much to add. It's not a song I'm like super familiar with. I've obviously seen Arabelo play it. I think Goose, like, as much as I do love like the fun dancey stuff, like they're really good at that, like, powerful, deep moments and like making people feel emotional.
It's contradictory, right?
But I can respect what they do.
You gotta call people out.
No. Disagree. It's not that I don't like porn. I just like other things more. And I think that they're really good at like tugging at the heartstrings and like getting really emotional. And it's one of the things I think a lot of their originals like are really strong at. A lot of their songs, either they're like really dancey and fun, or they're like deep, emotional, heavy, like gut punch. And that's a cover that I think that they crush. It's like right up their alley. And again, I think SPAC was the perfect place for it. It fit the vibe. Definitely like a different vibe after Angborg, but was fantastic.
Yeah,
I think it was the right vibe too. I was kind of joking when I put it earlier, but it was the perfect. I mean, you need a cool down song after that. This is, I guess a cool down song, like not like a lovey cool down song, but like a real like heart wrenching. Kind of. Because the story is so ridiculously tragic, and like that's like most Tom Waits songs are. But it's such an awesome cover. Really, 10/3/20 was the last time I was at that show. That was my third Goose show. Yeah. I didn't realize it's been that long. I just kind of
it was a 0 gap at that show.
Done it like I just kind of assumed it had been in between. But in any case, what I love about that cover, it is in the canon of covers that Goose does that I think really challenges what Rick can do with his voice, right? One of the strengths of Goose, as we all know, is Rick singing. And this one is just completely out of his wheelhouse and it's just different. And I love that they find these kinds of covers, that he finds these kinds of covers that challenge like his vocals.
Yeah.
And he crushes it. Like singing Tom Waits. Although Tom Waits is not like a great singer, it's hard.
Yeah.
Because there's like an inflection and emotion in his music that is really hard to replicate. And Rick does it, and he does it really well.
Yeah.
So
amazing. Very, very well put. Very well put. Maggie, let's start with you on the last couple of songs of the show here. We've got the Arcadia set closer and the Hot Love encore.
I loved Arcadia. I had a lot of fun. I think it was perfectly placed at the end after kind of like we said, not like a breather, but like a little cool down of a song. I think going into Arcadia was like perfect placement for the end, especially of like a big party, SPAC, fun time. Hot Love and the Lazy Poet, I just saw it on Monday. So that was back-to-back shows for me, which is totally fine. It's a great song. And I enjoyed it. So
there you go.
You know what the cool thing about Hot Love is? They like last stretch of tour, they opened every show with it, and now they just played it every show.
Yeah,
and like they don't open it.
Yeah, it's there. It's in a set list. Yeah, it was the perfect. You know, it was the perfect thing. Yeah, and you know, we talked about, you know, they're coming on stage for the encore, and it's like, oh, there's only 5 minutes left. What are they going to play? And one of the things I've been saying for years, we've been talking about a lot, is Goose doesn't have a lot of songs that can fill that 5-minute slot like that. And Hot Love is a perfect one there. Loved it as the encore.
Yeah, it fit in perfectly.
Yeah. And I skipped the Arcadia, but there's like a couple, like there's a minute or two in there of just like incredible bliss that just came out of nowhere. Like, you know, 1 minute they're just like in very good Arcadia, like, you know, Nebula adjacent jam there. And suddenly they're just in this glorious bliss jam. And I think we looked at each other at the same time. We were like, what?
How did we get
like, how, what just happened? It was amazing and just you know, hell of a finish to the set. Kara, what are your thoughts on these last two?
Arcadia is one of the songs I've seen the most. I think I've seen it like, I've been to 41 shows now and I've seen it like 20 times. So it was, it was like an average Arcadia. Like, I'll be honest, like it was fun. I had a really good time. The jams were good. Like, I'm not saying it was like, it's not going to be a contender for Jam of the Year for me. It was really fun. Like, I always have a good time with Arcadia. Going into Hot Love, I do agree that it's a great closer. It's taken me a little bit of time to get into that song. But I would say like last night did it for me. I was like, this is exactly how I want to close this off. I was wearing the heart sunglasses. It was perfect. Yeah. So I am a fan of that song now. It took me a little bit of time. I've seen it, I think 3 or 4 times now. So I'm a fan. I like it.
Uh-oh.
Oh God.
I mean,
hot take from Jess. Here we go.
What do you mean? I was so hyped that was like the first repeat so far. That's like probably that or Salt are like my favorite new songs of the year. I really like Hot Love. It's right up my alley. After the first time when they debuted it, I had that on repeat multiple times a day, every day, singing it. Anytime I saw Andrew, I said, please, like, I just started screaming at him. And I was on fire. I love that song. But even with Arcadia, seen it a bunch. I love it. It's a classic. I thought it was a perfect close to the set. But I was just psyched that even in Born too, like listening to the crowd sing back to the band is just something we didn't get in Boston and something that like hypes me up because like how cool is that to be the band having like you've grown so much the last couple of years and this huge crowd is singing your words back to you when you're closing this massive show, like tearing it up. I just like I'm getting goosebumps right now thinking about it. I just loved even in Born, like when the crowd is singing, like I get so tingly just like for the band because it's so freaking cool. We've watched them grow so much. And I will never be mad about an Arcadia set closer or a Hot Love.
Yeah,
amazing.
For sure. It's a vibe song.
I love it. And we are ready for night 2, I believe. We are ready for night 2. We are ready for night 2 in just a few hours here. It's back. The weather may be a little gray and wet, but you know, Godspeed to everybody sitting on the lawn tonight. I believe the rain is supposed to stop in the next couple of hours, which is good. Knock on wood. But it's going to be amazing. There's a 100% chance of hunger site. It's going to be awesome. Yeah, I'm ready.
Vibes are high.
Vibes are high.
It's
high.
Let's go.
You guys, we need to
are-
vibe Moby.
Vibe.
Okay.
Yeah, we're ready. And thank you to you three girls for being on the pod today. It's been a pleasure having you with us. Yes.
Before you kick us off, please follow us at the Femme Flock. We do a female focused podcast, trying to get more female and marginalized voices in the scene. That's Kara, myself, and our friend Nikki. But Maggie's actually on our next episode coming out. It's going to be about flock fashion. We have Baba Cool, who makes those fun sunglasses, come on. You'll see her on the fish lot. We're really trying to bring forward some more voices that you don't always hear in the scene. So we thank you guys so much for having us on and letting us plug our pod as well. And if you see us, come get stickers.
Oh yeah,
And
I'll have
heart
to.
shaped glasses.
Buttons. We have buttons.
Sick.
And do you have extra pairs of glasses to give to people if they find
Not
them?
yet, but next show.
Next show. All right. Find them at their
One.
next show. And there will be lots of heart-shaped glasses.
I have extra mustaches. I have black and rainbow. If anyone wants a mustache at a show, hit me up.
There you go. Amazing. Well, thank you everybody for tuning into this episode of Always Almost There, day after show. We'll see you tomorrow afternoon to recap SPAC Night 2. Josh is here to say goodbye. Josh, anything to say as a parting word?
I love you all.
We love you too.
Love you.
Thanks everybody for tuning in. Have a great show tonight, whether you're on the couch or at SPAC.